All right, we are live. Everybody here. Hello, thank you all. Hey, yeah. All right, so today I'm going to continue teaching, and I'm going to throw in some other stuff to help keep you grounded and learning things on a practical level, But on a really totally non-mundane level, a very esoteric level, is the reality of reincarnation. And reincarnation is it's a difficult process for people because you don't run up to someone and know that they are a reincarnation of something or somebody, and yet the truth, we're millions of years old and we should have figured this out by now, And the truth is that we always reincarnate. Every living human being reincarnates, You may reincarnate more as a terrible asshole and a terrible person who has terrible outcomes and goes through terrible situations and lives a terrible life, And look around, it's everywhere. But all those people reincarnated. So now look back at history, pretty bad. Pretty rotten, not much done, people didn't really grow, everybody got confused and still don't like black people, And it is an amazing process, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And the main reason why it is because we do not recognize reincarnation. And the biggest reason why we don't recognize reincarnation is because the senior teachers of Buddhism do not teach reincarnation. They teach all kinds of stuff, but they don't teach reincarnation. They start off by saying, our teacher died and never comes back, and he's totally enlightened and went on to nirvana, and we want to follow him. And that's Buddha. That's their belief of who Buddha is. It doesn't matter who you talk to. You can talk to the Dalai Lama, he'll tell you the same shit. You can talk to heads of people in Japan, people in Korea, people anywhere who follow Buddhism. And we got the same trouble with people who follow Jesus Christ, and we have the same trouble with people who followed Krishna and believing that that was his last incarnation. 5,000 years ago, folks, there's an enormous chasm because reality is we all reincarnate. So if there was a Krishna, there was another incarnation of Krishna not far after that. And they're consistent. All of us are consistent. Most everybody's dumb and ignorant and, has all kinds of vices and all kinds of lack of merit and has some merit and some virtue and, it is a super toss-up, You never know who you're going to marry. You never know who you're getting your hands into. You never know who and what relationship is coming together when you think, you found love and you found a support system and you found, your ever-loving dream. And whether it be your job or your university or whatever it is in life, But the truth is that it is your past life coming back around, So you don't have a lot of choices. Your only choice is to do a better job, Take longer time, Don't jump into it because that's exactly what you did in your past life, And most times you didn't have the right to do it, so you were forced into it. That leads to a long reincarnation process of trying to fix that. You get a strong feeling, I gotta achieve, or I gotta be with a person, or I gotta do this sort of thing, or all those things. They all come from our past. So our past, all in all, because we don't know reincarnation, if we did know reincarnation, what would happen? Will we reconsider, what we do today? The person we're going to rip off? The thought that we can burn bridges and it'll never catch up with us because it's a big, big world. You can rob banks and you're so stupid you think you're going to get away with it. You can't do anything wrong and get away with it because it will come back in your next life if it doesn't hit you in this life. It's just the way it is. It is. There's never any way around it. I don't care if you're a dog or a cat. Whatever it is, it's karma. It's involved in karma. So human beings have a wonderful opportunity to be the ones who receive teachings from the incarnation of masters. Yeah, and these masters, every single time you meet a master, they talk about reincarnation. Real masters, they all do. Dalai Lama's not a master because he doesn't teach, nothing about reincarnation. Why you should become a monk or nun, Why is it that Bodhisattva is inside you and what you need to do to develop it? Nope, no teaching on that whatsoever. None. Zero. None. Yeah? Just a lashing of the tongue. There's stupid bullshit, going on and on and on. Yeah? So there's little for us to take from that. And how would you be able to receive the empowerment of what if someone does reincarnate many, many times and has self-realization in that process, like maybe the Karmapa, 16th incarnation of the Karmapa, and what we read, if you read, and study this sort of thing, it's based on reincarnation. The number 16 is the number of reincarnations that person has had, and they're consistent. They're not like one 10,000 years ago and another one 3,000 years after that and another one 1,000 years. Occasionally they pop in, But that's how many people talk about Buddha. That's how many people talk about the highest of the initiates of this world. That they come very rarely and, just like you never know, Are you kidding me? They would be the ones who you'd know most about. They'd be the ones that you would not have missed. But this principle of false teachers have a tendency to make it illegal. There are people who literally are in the realm of reincarnation, like Tibetan Buddhism, and they don't like someone. They don't like the previous incarnation of the Karmapa, the 5th Karmapa. His first person who was enthroned as Karmapa was Dorje Chöngden. He was Karmapa. Not Karmapa, but the Dalai Lama. He was the 5th Dalai Lama, And he had previous incarnations. One Tsongkhapa, Sonam Gyatso, Dorje Chöngden, And his incarnation as the one why they chose him to be the Dalai Lama was because they felt that he was Sonam Gyatso, the reincarnation. And that he had many reincarnations, which meant that he was many incarnations of previous lives and the first 2 lives of the Dalai Lama. And then the 3rd one is the one that's known as the reincarnation of Genghis Khan. Not the Dalai Lama, but from the family of Genghis Khan, the leaders of Mongolia. Their grandchild was forced to go on throne as the reincarnation of Sonam Gyatso, who they murdered. They murdered him. And this is the family of that person who had him murdered. And he took refuge under Sonam Gyatso. He knew he was dying. He was, that's why he did it, But it was set up because he knew he was dying and these people believed in reincarnation. And he would then take the position of a false deity that was created, known as the Dalai Lama. So the Dalai Lama doesn't come from Tibetan Buddhism. It comes from Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan. It comes from the Mongols. Read your books. Read your books. It'll tell you the foundation of Tibetan Buddhism and the Dalai Lama, the original name and title, comes from Genghis Khan. And it was given to Sonam Gyatso. And he was given the authority of being the first incarnation of the Dalai Lama. But he was dead. So they say the next one that comes, which is, since they killed Sonam Gyatso, became the student of Sonam Gyatso. And when he died, all the family and all the leaders of the Mongols said, this is the one you're looking for. This is the Dalai Lama, the one who we enthroned as the Dalai Lama, who is the jewel. That's what Dalai Lama means. The jewel of Tibet. So all of a sudden, this titulary bullshit thing took place called the Dalai Lama. And it gave authority over so many people. It gave diluted authority over the Kaju lineage, yeah, over the Sakya lineage, yeah, went to war with many lineages, yeah, completely destroyed monasteries of Shama Rinpoche, destroyed monasteries of the Karmapa, yeah, destroys monasteries, yeah, like China, yeah, and then this is all story. It's all true story. You can read it in the biography of the Dalai Lama and others, because the Dalai Lama doesn't write his own biography. He has those who are his students and others help put together that biography, because he can't remember everything. So he gathers this information, yeah, and puts it into his biography. So when you read Dalai Lama's biography, you can get some grand insight of this man is not an incarnation of a Rinpoche. Yeah? Almost every time he incarnates and is found as the Tulku Rinpoche Dalai Lama, he doesn't pass his test. He doesn't recognize the things he's supposed to recognize. Glasses, malas, things like that. Yeah? And his previous student, who believes this has got to be the Dalai Lama, because in reality his devotion to that individual is there, but the telepathy in the individual as a Tulku is not there, to be able to recognize what they're supposed to recognize, their previous things they owned, their hat, their malas, their cane if they had a cane, their glasses if they had glasses, things that were personal to them, including a bowl that they meditated with and other relics. Yeah? But he had a hard time recognizing these things because he lacked the Tulku quality of being reverent with those objects. So they didn't really get instilled with soul. They had personality in them. Yeah? So his disciple could recognize his teacher, and the teacher being Genghis Khan, the reincarnation. Yeah? So he would further, like in the last Dalai Lama, that's how he got in charge. And there are many articles about the reality that he did not recognize the objects of his sacred life. Yeah? Which in many people's cases, it just shows that he's not the authorized Dalai Lama. You know? So at one time, the fifth Dalai Lama incarnates, and here's the cycle of time. Yeah? The Dalai Lama dies. Yeah? And now there's got to be another reincarnation, because we're in a world of reincarnation. In Tibetan Buddhism, we're in a world of reincarnation. Almost everybody is recognized as a possible reincarnation. Who? We're not sure. But we do divination, we do meditation, we do dream, focus, and see whether or not we can receive dreams collectively and get an idea as to who a young child is, or an older Rinpoche when they are so good and profound at what they do. We want to revere the process so we can receive the recapitulation to help them recognize and find out what their past life was. Yeah? So this is what we did in Tibetan Buddhism. We would study telepathically, intuitively. We'd go into deep dreams and meditations and try and bring this up to help the child, to help the Rinpoche. Yeah, because it's our reverence of previous life. That was our teacher, So it'd be a grand idea to further that, to receive the transmission, because it's not because you're a disciple of the previous incarnation of a great teacher that you get transmission. It's by you recognize the reincarnation of the great teacher and further it, and then you practice Guru Yoga. Guru Yoga is the practice of Buddhism, which means the Guru reincarnates, the disciples reincarnate, and it creates the foundation that we know of as Tibetan Buddhism. Yeah. So when we study Tibetan Buddhism, who do we find? Yeah. One of the greatest teachers of Tibetan Buddhism is Naropa. Naropa. Yeah. And you know him. If you've studied American Buddhism, you go to Boulder, Colorado, you get into Buddhism in America, it's all around Naropa. Naropa Institute, Naropa University. Yeah, even the celebration of Naropa every year, really big celebration of the 1,000 year, the 999 years since the birth of Naropa. Yeah, so we're in that. Many people do that. Yeah, well, wouldn't that be more powerful if they found Naropa? If he was found, recognized, furthered, awake, and back to teaching. You'd see his physical face. You'd see his form. You'd listen to his voice. It's amazing. Yeah? And it wouldn't be a book. It wouldn't be a teacher telling you his teacher's memory of his previous teacher. Yeah? Any great teacher would go, wow, you know, maybe I was during the time of Naropa. That's where I got my transmission. You know? So we see these lines of transmission that we believe had taken place hundreds of years ago, which establishes certain people as reincarnated tulkus. They were the disciple of Naropa. They were the disciple of Tolopa. They were the disciple of the first Karmapa. They were the disciple of Sankapa. Yeah? And then they reincarnate, and they're these very powerful tulkus because they received, and in previous life they were part of that transmission and furthering the recognition of reincarnation. So when this started happening, it meant that large numbers of people, you know, under Karmapa, under Milarepa, yeah, under these masters, they took responsibility of their students and instilled in the responsibility of finding the master when he dies, and the responsibility of all the disciples to find each other, and all of them to collectively come back and not lose themselves in samsara. Yeah, which is what happens, people. We're in samsara. And what do you lose in samsara? You lose the masters. You lose them, maybe hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, completely out of your realm. You're working in industry. You're working as a bank teller. You're working this and that for 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 years, maybe 1,500 years. You know, business. You got to do something. And if your life incarnation, your destiny of your life is you're at because you knew a master. You're at that point. But now you're just, you know, a hairdresser, you know, or a bank teller. And you wonder, what the heck? You know, there's so much spirituality passing through you and life, but you can't find your connection because your guru is not found. Until your guru is found, you can't find yourself. It's guru worship. Yeah, guru yoga. Yeah, and it's not by looking at a book or having a statue in your room. None of that really. You know, it's about finding the guru. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. How about number 24? Number 26. Yeah. You know, so here we have all these people in America that are devout disciples of Naropa. Yeah. Naropa Institute, you know, they do the Naropa ceremonies, they read all the books of the yogis of Naropa. Yeah. Yeah, like this book here. The Life and Teaching of Naropa. Downright famous guy. Yeah. You think more people would consider this as a reality, you know. But only in Buddhism. Only in certain areas of Buddhism is Naropa actually considered a teacher. In India, because he comes from India and he's a teacher in India, well known. Yeah. In Tibet, well known because he taught in Tibet. He took the teachings to Tibet. Yeah. Yeah. Well known. Yeah. And now they have this ceremony. In 2018, it was a 1,000-year celebration of not finding Naropa. Yeah? But that's a lie. It's a lie. I know the truth. Naropa has been alive ever since, all the way through 24 total incarnations up to today. And in that reality, Naropa is alive, physical, walking around. Just like me, just like many other masters. Many, 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 many other masters. And the history of Naropa. If you imagine Naropa, he interpreted the teachings of Buddha. That's what he's known for. Everything you know about Buddha, all the teachings that were written by Ananda, was laid to rest, placed on stone, put on tablets. Yeah? And yet it got reinterpreted many times because they couldn't quite understand. So they wrote a little interpretation to it, added into it. And after hundreds of years, that turned into a blend of what is the teaching from the student and what is the teaching from the teacher. Because the interpretation became the teachings. And the teachings were not correct. He didn't die. He died, but he reincarnated. And there was no loss in the process. And that emanation goes on to many, many people. And it's a reality. It's just a reality. But we don't get to see that reality or feel that reality because there is some shit going on with false prophecy and false prophets. And here, imagine we have Naropa in the world. This is a very fine, enlightened being. I mean, we're talking someone who reached the fifth initiation. And someone who in this life will reach a sixth initiation if I can get him to come out in the open. Because he's going to keep reincarnating, there's no questions about that. But will you be furthered by his presence? Will you build his universities? Because he won't come out unless you build his universities. And they got to be the biggest universities on earth. Not little universities. Not universities like Kent State, or Stanford or anything like that. But a university based on the teaching of Buddha. Both Gautama Buddha and Maitreya. Because he's now, today, the disciple of Maitreya. Has been since he was 24 years old. And he's been furthered. I have built his Sangha room, I built his puja room, I built his place for his kitchen, all the rooms for his students to come and live and receive teachings from him. But still, all these books come out, but no one says he's alive. He's alive. Dalai Lama don't say he's alive. No one says he's alive. So I think it'd be well worth for you to meet him. And this is him. Yongon Tulku. On this is Logan Tulku. Logan Tulku is the one that I told you about, that he has, his relationship is that he created the first Tara temple. He manifested the first statue Tara, which was created out of a manifestation of Tara in front of him, which turned into stone after he built one half of the Tara statue. He was supposed to have to go back home and get more dirt and make more clay statue, but because it came from the sacred land where Buddha Maitreya makes manifest, which is his home, his homeland, Logan Tulku, So he's like the rarest of the rarest in Tibetan Buddhism, There's this thing where of the highest order, there are people who have been implanted with teachings, And the teachings that I gave in the past are sitting in that person, and that person cannot get to them until I come along. Then all of a sudden, they begin manifesting in the world, in people's minds. Not in that student, but in people's minds. Because it's an encapsulation of the consciousness of Buddha that's inside plants and animals and people and rivers and everything. That's at that point in time, thousands of years ago, when Padmasambhava gave these teachings, when I gave these teachings to this particular guy. He received it from me as the teacher, Padmasambhava. And he was an emanation. And he came down that pike as one of the 5 manifestations of the Karmapa. So this is very rare. This is extremely rare. This is a young little Karmapa who no one wants to say he's Karmapa. And he is the same age as Karmapa, born at the same time as Karmapa, But he's never been recognized as Karmapa. He's just been recognized as the highest living Tulku on planet Earth. And he would manifest and take an object in his hand, and whatever he thought, it would mold into that form. Yeah? If he had a sword in his hand, it would literally bend right in his hand. Yeah? If he prayed on Tara, the dirt would manifest into it. Yeah? This is heavy shit. This is powerful stuff. Yeah? This is thought form building on a 7th degree level. 7th degree level. That's really hard to get to. The only way he can get to that is because I'm standing right there, transmitting through him on a 12th degree level. Yeah? And he's able to receive this guru relationship, and it keeps him through his life. Yeah? And he makes it to where he's at when I meet him. Yeah, and I save him, I get him to Drepung, I build his monastery, I save all of his people, all of his monks, everybody, and in that, he and I find Naropa. And Naropa, he travels all the way from Tibet, walking all the way from Tibet, starting when he's 20 years old, and he gets there when he's around 21 and a half. Yeah? He gets a Dharamsala, finally, and he gets authorized, yeah, you're a tulku, but nothing's going to be done, no money's going to be given to you, no help and support's going to be given to you, nothing, yeah. And then he says, you need to go to Drepung, and he goes there. And his history is that he has more monasteries than anybody in Tibet. Yeah? More. Most of them has been destroyed because of the Chinese Revolution. But historically, everything you know about Tibet is actually about this guy. And Tsongkhapa learned from him. The Karmapa learns from him. Yeah? From this guy. Yeah? Naropa. And as all of that is going along, the other teacher would be Login Tulku. Yeah? Unrecognized because he's just super, super light and spontaneous. Yeah? He fits in where needed and breaks down and dispels the things that it takes in order to make Dharma happen. Makes it easy for Dharma to happen, for other teachers to reincarnate. Yeah? So we don't see him in books, and we don't see Naropa in books, only in his life as the original Naropa, not in the historical life that he's gone through 24 lives. We should get that shit. Why isn't that in our process? Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but it will be. The life and biography and history of Login Tulku is right now being put together in books, with descriptions of his life. Yeah, and we're giving all that support to make those books happen in many different languages. And we're going to do the exact same thing for Naropa. Yeah, and then a film is going to be made because we've got Tibetan filmmakers that are some of the best filmmakers on the planet. Yeah, and they're going to come into this process, and they're going to begin filming the history of masters who reincarnate. Yeah, and we're going to clean up a lot of crap that has been put out by the Dalai Lama. And we're going to bring millions and billions of people back to recapitulation because they're going to relive the masters' lives that they were in. Yeah? And it'll free them up because those masters are walking and talking today. So this is Naropa. Enjoy.
India, Yangon Lama took birth as the boy Dakpa at the time of the Lord Buddha and was the King Paladin Cell. So is that his very first incarnation, it says here?
Which one?
Dakpa.
Naropa is the one on the right, really incredible. And Login Tulku is the one who's
It's
interpreting.
first incarnation.
So that's the first, and that's at the time of the Lord Buddha, so that's Gautama Buddha.
Did any kind of same time?
So that's his incarnation at the same time.
At the same time,
So a long time, that's 2,500
Yeah, something.
years ago.
Yeah.
As Dakpa, the first incarnation.
Yeah.
Okay. The incarnation we have there is the great Naropa, one of the most renowned city of India. So that's Naropa the translator, yeah. Was that the third incarnation or later on?
Which
Naropa.
one was famous in that time is India, you know. He is also translator of Puja book.
Yeah.
Also he is very famous
Yeah.
that time. Yeah. He is also that time famous teacher. So there we called Lozawa. Lozawa means a very famous teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I see. So that was a famous incarnation.
Yeah. Actually, Lozawa means very good teacher from translator.
Right.
From what Buddha is saying, that's all are very clear translator. Yeah, that's
Buddha. In the Sutra of Essential Instructions, the temple named Gyal will be established by emanation of the Lord Maitreya. So that temple is the temple that he built. Is that right? Gyal. Is it called Gyal?
Yeah.
It was prophesied by Lord Buddha.
And the Jite Gomba is like a Drepung, it's main one, and there's also two parts like Losling and Goma. There's a Jite and Jime and Jeme. Yeah, before 100 years before, not 100, yeah, 100 years before there's many monks, something 600.
Right, so
607 is so big.
A big monastery.
Yeah. After 59, 40 something, when Chinese is coming in Tibet, then they are all monks are finished.
And now we have about 50 or 60 monks in
Yeah,
these days.
60. 60.
Yeah. He also says here that he met with the Lord Atisha. So this was the incarnation at the same time as Atisha. He was one of Atisha's main disciples. Is that correct?
George Adipadisha.
Yeah.
George Padin Adisha. He is very famous in India.
Yes.
That time there was a Tibet, there's no much dharma.
Right.
That time they welcome to George Padin Adisha to Tibet. That
I see.
That time he was there. His previous life. I see. There's one of welcome from his previous life.
Right. So
He also welcomed to George Padin Adisha to Tibet
So
for
Atisha came to Tibet.
teaching for dharma.
Right.
Ben Kunkel, one of his previous life. He's a very when he was young, when he was not monk.
Yeah.
He's like something whatever he think, and he thief.
Oh, he was a thief.
He was thief something.
When he was young.
Yeah, he was young. He was thief, and he's whatever he think he do it. It's
Yeah.
very strange. Yeah, it's like it's like fingerman, Buddha. When village people hear his name, and village people were very afraid, and they are die like that. He was very thief, big thief. And when village people are hear from his name, and somebody died.
Yes, because they were so afraid.
So afraid,
of his
yeah.
behavior.
Yeah.
So that was when he was young.
Yeah. And when he was older, and he is very disappointed to what he was doing.
Oh, I see.
Then
Right.
he has become a very good monk,
Yeah.
and he was very famous teacher.
Oh,
Future, he become.
Yeah, because we have a story here. When he was older in this incarnation, for every good thought, he would put a small stone on the floor. So he would count every stone at the end of the day for every good thought. Is that right?
Actually, he's at birthday day.
Yeah.
That's at the morning for evening. What he did for dharma,
Yeah.
how much dharma practice
Yeah.
is meditated, and how many sin.
Yeah.
And he count one stone, a black stone and white stone. There's two different
Oh, two different
stone, white and black.
Oh.
And once time he do very bad things,
Yeah.
like sin.
Yeah.
And he one count for black.
Oh, the black was for
black.
the bad thoughts.
Yeah, bad thought. Yeah,
Right.
black stone. And when he think of good, and he put white stone for good. And when night he count.
You would see.
He count which is the more stone, is black or white.
Yeah.
It's black, and he's disappointed, and he also continue to meditate to emptiness. And
So he would use this.
use this for
his dharma
himself,
practice.
the dharma practice, like
So
that.
he arrived at Draycon when he was 18.
18th, yeah.
And how old is he now? How many
롱치
years?
단단히 고로 가져야 나스 롱치 괜히 당고 대 대군라 페두가니 고로 접게를 샤스 단단 고로 가져야 나스 비슷하니. He's now 22.
So he's been in Draycon 4 years.
4 years.
And he's studying for his geshe studies, yeah?
Yeah, he's study, and he's also study as
What about when he met Buddha Maitreya? Can you talk a little bit about that? When was that first year that he met Buddha Maitreya?
롱치 라라무 도지 팀 당고 지로 가지 투에 나스 가리스 투소 데뷔도 그들을 또 이루 찍으래 뭐지 고구려 그들 찍으래. Yeah, he met first time met to Buddha Maitreya at 2001 when Buddha Maitreya visit to here.
Okay.
That time he said that main things Buddha Maitreya have for his puja room, and sometimes there's when monk or sick, and also Buddha Maitreya helps to them.
Right, like just give them some money for
Money
their
for them, and
expenses.
therefore go to hospital.
Right. And then we know
Buddha Maitreya also very thankful to him for many times to help to him. First time when he arrived to here, then he must give to big puja for all monks. There's very many money goes something 1 lakh.
So that was a lot of money. So
A
that's
lot of
like
money. That time also Buddha Maitreya help give to him.
Okay.
And also these days also monthly Buddha Maitreya sponsor to him for
great.
food,
Right.
something. Yeah.
So we had that was about $2,000 for the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
And then he gets monthly money for sponsorship.
Yeah. They also hope to many monks coming from Tibet at future, and also that time they need a new build also,
Right.
and also that time they also request to Buddha Maitreya.
So it's almost just beginning again, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
This is the Geshe
I am a messenger of
he
light.
received. He didn't
I am
get
a
it until I
pilgrim
got there,
on the way of love.
because no one would pay for it.
I do not walk alone, but I know myself as one with all great souls, and one with them in service. Their strength is mine. This strength I claim. My strength is theirs, and this I freely give. A soul, I walk on earth. I represent the One.
that hat is the hat that comes from Tsongkhapa, coming into the University of Drepung that I initiated and created. And he received his hat, he goes to his Geshe school and everything, and he brings his hat to me because he would always meet me when I came to Goa to go to Drepung and teach and meet all the Rinpoches and everything and help. And so he would show up, and after he got his hat, received his ceremony, and was enthroned in that hat, he felt the only right thing to do is give that hat to me. Yeah. So this is the hat that I wear when I'm in Drepung or I'm enthroned in a Galupa process, and it's the hat that passes from Naropa to Buddha, because this is the only emanation of Maitreya. Yeah, the emanation of Maitreya. So he and I are pretty close, and this is a really cool. It's my very favorite hat. Really, it fits me really well. So that's really cool. And we will continue.
The will of God moves the world.
I thought maybe I would be forced to go to school, and go to Drepung, which is really why they came and picked me up at 9 years old. And I figured, well, this is now going to continue when I'm 50 years old, But when my certificates came in, I was certified as a graduate and certified that I received all my credentials in previous lives, and I mastered all the teachings, so I'm the senior teacher to all the universities. Yeah, so no need to go to school. That was kind of neat. That really was a shift. But it is that way. I am the best of the best students. I study, and I founded all the universities. I founded everything. Yeah, from the Galupa sect to the Kali Chakra, the whole thing, all the ceremonies that are put together are from my studies and from my initiating the pujas that we needed to do, how the pujas needed to be done, just like the pujas that I give you. Many of those are written by me in my previous lives. The one for Chenrezig was written by Tsongkhapa. That's me. I wrote that. Yeah. And that was given back to me as part of my empowerment by another Rinpoche. He gave me the book. That was a book that was not used by Tsongkhapa, but it was the direct teaching of Tsongkhapa in that book, in both English and in Tibetan. So it's a big transmission for me. Yeah. And then the same thing with Padmasambhava. So all of these teachings and everything are things that, as I help in the process of Tibetan Buddhism, it frees up those teachings, like Naropa as an interpreter, it frees up those teachings to the point to where when I say something, you will understand it. Because you're told a lie. And the reason why I'm doing this is to reinterpret it back to the truth and the simplicity behind it. We're not vegetarians. We eat meat. We do reincarnate because we love everyone. And we will not leave this planet until everybody is saved. And our purpose for being here, meditating in all our ways, is to do that very thing. And not just get past one light and think, well, that was enough. Well, that was a hard life, now I've done so well, my merit is so great, I do not have to go back and do that again. What was it, a lie? It would have to be a lie. And it's not a lie. And we do reinturn. And we do want to do the dharma the moment we take a breath. And it's such a staggering process because we are not furthered in the process of recapitulation, reincarnation, and the recognition of tulkus. The Dalai Lama literally wants to let go of the process of finding, seeking, and enthroning tulkus. He wants to let it go. He says there's far too many. Yeah, far too many. Yeah, it's insane. It's really insane. So you're going to learn more in relationship to tulkus because Naropa's coming here. Yeah, and Logan Tulku will be coming here. But it really is a big deal. First, I have to heal Tibet. I have to heal these masters. The 99th throne holder of Tsongkhapa is one of my students. You know, his family has been sponsored by me since the moment he was born. You know, I was the first person they came to in order to sponsor my disciple. You know, so my doing this with all disciples has become an awareness within Tibetan Buddhism. For mothers and fathers and high Rinpoches channel through their mothers and fathers, they get them to come to me to tell them their situation. And whether you're the disciple of Padmasambhava, that's what's happened to me. Yeah, I take care of those disciples. And if you're my disciple all the way back where I was Tolopa, and I'm teaching Naropa, in the fine process of Vajradhara and Vajrayogini, yeah, that was an intense process. You know, why lose that? You know, the transmission is passed like a speed of light, and it is the light I talk about that you're going to ride. You're going to ride because it's transmission. The light comes from Maitreya. The light comes from Buddha. Yeah, and it's information. It's wisdom. It's loving wisdom. Yeah, it's answers. It's non-confusion. It puts everything back together. Yeah. So here he is a little more.
The past has gone. I am that past. It makes me what I am. The future comes. I also am the coming destiny, and therefore I am that. The present flows from out the past.
This is debate.
The future colors that which is.
This is the food that I provide.
I make the future also by my present knowledge of the past.
Normally they
and
get
the beauty
barley
of the present.
and bread.
And therefore I
and
am
yak
that
butter
I
tea.
am.
And that's it. Barley, bread, yak butter tea. Sometimes you get rice, you know, and you get to eat that. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, not much. Here, they're getting full-blown a lot of chicken. Yeah, and they're getting all kinds of great food, bread, and yak butter tea. And they're running over each other. And here comes the bread. This is a big day. They do not eat this well. They do not. They eat so bad it's ridiculous. They all suffer from arthritis.
Within
They all
the
suffer
circle
from kidney problems. They all
of the will of
suffer from
God I
diabetes. They
stand.
all suffer. Just like everybody else, they suffer.
Without the radius
Because the teachers do not have the
take my
teacher,
place.
and the teacher can't tell them what to eat.
And there
And they
I
need to be
stand.
told what to eat. Just like you need to be told, take the baby to the mother and have her nurse. If you don't, baby dies. Yeah, there needs to be some teaching involved here. Nice kitchen.
Before the open door that just reveals a different lighted way, I take my stand. Before the presence, I will take my place, and there will firmly stand. And stand I see. Love pulses through the universe in a divine rhythm. Love is the consciousness of God. May the holy ones whose disciple I am show me the light I seek. May all mankind, may all humanity of all knowledge May all light on earth make manifest the soul in all things, all life. I invoke the radiant golden sun to manifest the thread of the soul into the kingdoms of the elementals, into the kingdoms of the vegetables, the animals, into the astral plane.
That's how it works. Yeah. So it's really, and as you can see, I found Naropa, I've got Logan Tulku, I've got the Karmapas worked out, it's still in a state of drama, and we're not in a place to where we can externalize, because humanity is still channeling. If you can vote in a guy named Trump and you can have things that go on the way they do and deal with the virus the way you dealt with it, it's not the time to be bringing light into this situation, because you will go frantic. It won't relieve you of your problem. There has to be a series of things, and that's why I'm the one running those series of things, cleaning up a whole world, and it's a process of alleviating a lot of stuff. Like I showed you yesterday, we lost our beautiful Lama, Lama Wandok. And there's been many, Logan Tulku had an assistant, an aide, who brought him to me, Sawan Dundup. Sawan Dundup was one of the greatest guys I ever met. He's from Shambhala. That's how profound he is. He's not even known or recognized as a Tulku, but he is a Tulku. And because of the Dalai Lama, he can't see shit. He doesn't have relationship to Buddha. He doesn't have relationship to Naropa. He doesn't have a relationship to Padmasambhava. He never knew Tsongkhapa. So how can he teach you the lineage that is coming to you? All he can do is be afraid all the time. Be afraid of the Panchen Lama. Be afraid of another authority teacher who would be greater than him. At all times, if you read his history, that is his behavior. He's always been threatened by greater teachers and greater power of other people, and he would do everything to suppress them and stop them and make laws against them, like Trump. I don't know of anybody who's more like Trump than the Dalai Lama. And he's been doing it for so long, patted on the back, given, Nobel Peace Prize and all this stuff. His ego's just gone as though he's riding skates, just skating through this thing, just telling all the lies, a false teacher, causing harm and destroying Tibet and causing all the harm of millions of people, telling them that his teacher is the devil. That's just beyond words to happen within Tibetan Buddhism. To tell people Dorji Chungden, is the devil, when he's the reincarnation of Manjushri. A Buddha incarnated of Manjushri. He's a reincarnation of Tsongkhapa. You can't do shit like that. But he did because he was jealous and envious, because he's not those things. He was never a Tulku, never able to recognize things as a Tulku would. And he was always put on a throne seat, because others who recognized him, but he couldn't recognize shit. So they could just recognize the reincarnation of Genghis Khan, their past teacher. So that's really heavy when it comes down to how well are we going to recapitulate past lives when we haven't even started. That means you have to first start believing in reincarnation. Then you have to start taking refuge so you can do your practice on a day-to-day basis, so that you can make yourself a better person by recapitulating all the way back as far as you can possibly go to the previous teachers that you were a student of. And you got to recapitulate all of it. It all comes through the one teacher. That one teacher is the teacher to all those. And so it's not hard. It's extremely simplified. all of them have one teacher. All of them have one teaching. There's no heavy-duty level. The Buddha comes out with a full bang. This is it. You get it all right here, right now. There's no, you got to go slow. You get everything. So that process is to be able to bring the masters of wisdom to the masses, to humanity. The reason why the hierarchy is not known, why Tibetan Buddhism is not well known and well recognized as Christians, is because of this false hierarchy. It goes all the way back to Jesus Christ going to Tibetan Buddhism, being recognized as one of the first tulkus on earth, as the Rinpoche, the Tulku Maitreya, who every time you read something from Gautama Buddha, it's a conversation between Ananda and Maitreya, and that was Maitreya who walked into the monastery. So to them, that was like, are you kidding me? This is awesome. And they loved Jesus. They saw Jesus as Maitreya, every aspect of Maitreya, which meant if Jesus was to continue, he would have been the Buddha Maitreya. If he had lived past 33, if he had lived past 35, which he did when he went to Srinagar, when he became Buddha Maitreya. And, just as a Tulku, there were no disciples or anything, so he brought the entire lineage of all the scholars of all of Tibetan Buddhism to Srinagar and taught them all the interpretations that were given, directly from Buddha, and made them into the scholarly books that we know today called Mahayana. And that all of that is brought together by Jesus the Christ, who was alive at the time and was just living out his recapitulation as Maitreya. So what else would he be talking about than Buddhism? It's the most profound experience that Jesus had experienced prior to being Jesus. So in reincarnation, when he comes back, his coming back is to further the teacher who was the teacher of earth, Gautama Buddha, and take that position that Gautama Buddha said he was going to take as the future Buddha. That would make you willing to go on a cross, because you're Buddha. You would go that deep. You would go that much in sacrifice if that's what it takes. Because you got to go through all of that in order to raise everybody else up. That's how you do it. You got to literally let go of becoming Buddha and go through whatever you have to go through, which is real hardship, sometimes death and sacrifices and treatment, the worst kind. And when that's done to a Buddha, it changes the karma of the world, where evil is now tied up in the hands of dharma. And that means evil's got to pay a price. And over time, the connection between one great being and evil beings been tied together in that life by him being in the sacrifice that took on all the evil of the world. Because that's where the head of all the evil of the world was at. And then, next thing, go to Tibet and take on the Dalai Lama, take on the false teachings, take on the process that continues this. So all the history of Jesus Christ is really based in Buddhism. And yet it's going to come out as Jesus Christ, Jesus the Christ, But that's because we reincarnate, and this is about reincarnation, and for us to receive our teachings, you would receive teachings from, like Gautama Buddha, he would teach about, there's going to be a coming Buddha, but I'm not that. Gautama Buddha, I'm not that. It's going to be another Buddha, and that Buddha is going to have all the characteristics that we now know today is Jesus the Christ. And he says, and this is the guy who has the boat. This is the guy who can bring everybody. This is the guy who will save you. Not me, but he will, And he's referring to Maitreya, But he's referring to Maitreya's next incarnation, further future incarnation, where he will seal the deal and make himself karmically indebted to planet Earth in the process of Jesus the Christ. By him going on a cross, beaten to death, put on a cross and die on a cross in a ceremony of Satan, under the officials of Satan at the time, Caesar, Herod, everybody. So all of those ties, all those people had to be told, talked to, and agree upon to make this happen. And that made karma. They all shaked hands. And the winner is Jesus the Christ, not the loser. They didn't believe he was who he said he was. And being who he is, tied the knot on those people. And the exact same thing happened to Dorji Chögyam. The Dalai Lama was so evil, so adamant, he had Dorji Chögyam killed. And in that, he then did a fire ceremony in order to prove that Dorji Chögyam was evil. They needed to purify the spirits, of Dorji Chögyam, but they couldn't light the fire. They couldn't light a fire because there was no evil spirit in this man. None. So no fire was to be lit. And then when they finally did get a fire going, a little fire going, all of a sudden, this entity right here came popping out of the fire in the likeness of Manjushri. And this is the protector, manifestation Manjushri, but now known as Dorji Chögyam, because they realize, oh my God, we just killed Manjushri. We can't do a purification on Manjushri. And then, out of the same flame and smoke, came a manifestation of Tara. And she freaked everybody out. And the Dalai Lama sitting there going, no, this is too much for me. No. I can't, he's supposed to be evil. Oh my God, we killed Buddha and Tara's really pissed about it. And then all of a sudden the sky turned black. Cows started dying. Yaks started dying. Fields started dying. Everything dies. Dies everywhere. Plague. Read about it. It's in the history of Tibet, the event that took place. It tied the hands of the evil, and the evil was in the Dalai Lama and the people who killed the Buddha. So we learned in the 5th incarnation of the Dalai Lama that he killed the Buddha. A terrible event happened for Tibet. And if he was to be continued and not allow this person to reincarnate again, which he does, Dorji Chögyam continued reincarnated to become the Dalai Lama. That's me. So I've had 4 positions as the Dalai Lama. I was murdered once as a 10-year-old child. I was murdered again as a 21-year-old person. Each time I was enthroned as the Dalai Lama. And those are the times when our present Dalai Lama was not Dalai Lama. But they would kill me and then throw him in. And when they throw him in, he's not a newborn baby. They claim that I wasn't really so they claim this other guy who's maybe 7 or 8 years old, and he's actually the reincarnation of the same guy, the Dalai Lama we know today, and they keep trying to push him in, no matter what age he is, at the time that I'm killed. So that's how he keeps getting back in. He is fostered by channeling, murder, corruption. And every time they're killing children, they're killing innocent men, me, doing no harm to anybody. I mean, I'm making poetry and music. Nobody really thought I should be the Dalai Lama because I loved women and I hung out with people in the streets, and that was me, the 7th Dalai Lama. And I loved it. I loved people. I didn't want to sit in that place. I already had the dharma. I already knew the teaching. I already knew the life. I knew I was free and everybody else is free. And I can get married if I want to. Which I wanted to do. And it didn't work out. And we did get married, and we had a house just outside. And she wasn't able to come into the Patala, my wife. And for me to be with her, I had to go to the house, stay in that house. Within 3 months of our marriage, I was asked to go take care of my nunnery. And When I go to take care of my nunnery, I'm stabbed to death 5 miles from where I live. Yeah? Because it was too much. You know, here I write poetry, I love women, you know, I am the Dalai Lama, but I'm the reincarnation of Tsongkhapa. I'm the reincarnation of Buddha. What do you expect? But a really different kind of person, you know, who isn't really fostering the need to have to study and go through the diligent processes as though I don't have merit. You know, there's an energy of lifestyle that needed to be exuded from me, and it never was to happen. They wouldn't allow it to happen. They're very strict. And that's what freaked me out when they came for me when I was 9 years old. Oh my God, I'm never going to have a life. I won't find my wife. I'll never have my life. You know, I'll never kick up my heels and have a good time. You know, I'll just be stuck in this rut. You know, being required to live under obligation of these rules where I can't be natural. Yeah, and that's just totally against me. So I went ahead and lived my life. Yeah, but that's the process. And this situation of all the tulkus, these tulkus, just like the Karmapa, he got married. Yeah, overshadowed to live a life, fall in love with his girlfriend in Bhutan when he's a teenager. You know, and can't get out of it. You know, by the time he's 25 years old, he deeply wants to get married, and he's still the Karmapa, and nobody wants him to be Karmapa because there's 2 Karmapas, and it would be easier to choose the other one because he's fanatical, he's vegetarian, he kind of looks like the previous Karmapa, so everything in the machine is just right. But this guy is like super funny and very, very bright and clear and grounded, and you know, doesn't even want to live in Tibet. Yeah, he lives in Paris, yeah, or he lives in Bhutan, but he's not really interested in living the same style. Tibetan, fully ceremonial, fully responsible for the Kagyu lineage, fully, but still, he has to be a master, and a master is liberated. You do not follow previous lives and repeat yourself, because at that time you were trying to develop merit, understanding, and wisdom. Yeah, but you accumulate. And you've gotten to that. You're now the master. You know, so those things should be free, and you should have spontaneous virtue, spontaneous abilities, and people should learn from you in what you do, not so much what you say. Yeah. So that allows a lot of people to not get in a dogma of thinking what it's like to be in Shambhala, what it's like to be in a monastery. Monasteries change. You cannot have a monastery that's a prison at the same time. Yeah, you can't cut people's hands off in Buddhism like the Dalai Lama did, or enslave people so that they would pay them taxes. 90% of the people of Tibet were enslaved. That would have never happened in my reality, because I'm spontaneous. I would know those people, yeah, just like I did with Lama Wandak. I am very cuddly. Yeah, I'm very close. Yeah, I keep things in a nature so that people can come back around. Not in this ceremonial kind of crap. You know, it's liberated. So let's do a puja. Okay, so we're going to do Chenrezig Puja. So try and listen to it. It's a really powerful puja, yeah, and it's a real thing. It's extremely esoteric because it talks about Chenrezig. It talks about, you know, the enlightenment of Chenrezig and the process of humanity and how humans go a certain way and how certain negative karmas go a certain way, and that if you continue that way, you end up this way, you know, and how to relieve yourself. And in the process, your obligation, your sense of responsibility to continue your process toward the dharma, yeah, and never, no matter what, no matter how enlightened you are, never agree, never think in terms of agreement that you will end reincarnation. Never agree to that, yeah, because it's not true, and that would be your big lie, yeah, because you're going to get there and you're going to find your back, and then you're going to be frustrated. and you're going to misbehave. And you're not going to be who you really are because you shut that out. You ended it in your mind. Done, over with. Yeah? And it's not true. It's not done. It's not over with. So in Buddhism, we practice emptiness so we can get rid of that one thought. I don't want to be here. I don't want to come back. I don't like this place. Everybody treats me, all those things that makes you really think, that there's got to be some other place that's better than this. And you're actually sitting at the very temple top of God's creation, with views and eyes and senses and everything that allows God to express and see and feel and enjoy life. Yeah. Every time you incarnate, you get that opportunity. And you think that, if you leave, you're going to enter another place that's going to give you that opportunity. And it's not true. You get it by reincarnating. It's a constant life. It's called life, not death. Yeah, it's life. And then it's transmigration of the soul. And the soul is life, never death. Yeah. American Indians, we don't have a name for death. Yeah, nothing dies. Trees don't die, people don't die, rocks don't die, earth don't die. There's no name for it. Yeah? So in this, and we also believe that we're humans. Yeah? And that's why we don't have the word for death. Yeah? But killing, taking a person's life, we got words for that. Yeah? But not in the concept of what is death. Death, life goes on. Doesn't matter if you die a bad way or a good way, you're going to continue. But you'll continue, come back in a bad way. You'll continue and come back in a good way. Yeah. So in American Indians, there's a belief system in that process of strength, courage, and love. Yeah. And developing that is what you're going to get when you grow. Yeah. And when you die, you're going to take that with you as loving wisdom. Yeah. And everybody will see you as an elder as loving wisdom, as a manifestation of loving wisdom. Yeah. And that's what we are as human beings. We're supposed to be that in our process of life. We're supposed to develop loving wisdom. Yeah. But it takes reincarnation and seeing life in this world, like American Indians. They see life in this world as reincarnation. Yeah. It's not their teaching in a matter-of-fact way, but it's their philosophy in a matter-of-fact way. And it's the same with Tibetans and the same with some other people. But unless we hold it in our principles and we have a teaching that comes with what causes us to reincarnate, what causes that? It's not just a phenomenon. It's not like, oh, that happened. No, it's actually a design that's manifested by Buddha in a state of compassion, in a state of empathy, in a state of forgiveness. Yeah? And that's what Christ is all about. Without forgiveness, you don't reincarnate. Without forgiveness, you go to hell. Without forgiveness, you come back and you forget and you go through hell again, again, and again. Without forgiveness. The only thing that gets it is forgiveness. And to have forgiveness, you have to have the Lord, the energy that's coming from the transmigration of the soul. And the soul comes from the Lord. So you abusing the soul is what the Lord forgives. Does that make sense? That's why the Lord can save you, because you're messing with His soul, not yours. Yeah? And your transgression of the soul causes you bad karma. Yeah? So it's a matter of receiving the teacher who creates the soul, who teaches you about only the soul. That's it. The working out of the soul, the working out of a plan. And you have to have reincarnation to begin having a soul. You have to recognize you do reincarnate, and you have to do everything in this life in order to foster your virtues, your merit, and your ability to reach the teacher and begin receiving transmission. And that's when you literally are on the path. And when you're on the path, you're on the path of becoming a tulku, becoming bodhisattva, becoming bodhisattva, becoming a tulku. Yeah? And in that, you have other brothers and sisters in the Sangha and higher levels that remember you and recognize you because they're doing the same thing. There's no illusions, there are no delusions, there's no material escapism. It's all there in the pujas. It's all there in the ceremonies. So listen to this puja. It is the path. Yeah? And it's not an esoteric thing. It's a matter-of-fact thing that it does affect you, and whether you stay in the samsara, whether or not you have a bad reincarnation, it's all based on you understanding this puja. Yeah? So that, because it explains to you, you act like this, you're going to end up like that. You may not be that today, but you will be that tomorrow. That's not a good thing. It's like a plant, but it's turning into poison. Yeah? So you don't want to do that. Yeah? So let's pray. We're going to do the invocation. Okay, repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
From this moment until the heart of enlightenment is reached, I and all sentient beings as limitless as the sky go for refuge to all the glorious holy lamas. We go for refuge to all the yidams, the deities gathered in the mandalas. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the supreme dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble sangha. We go for refuge to all the dakas, dakinis, protectors and defenders of the dharma, who possess the eye of transcending awareness. We go for refuge to all the glorious holy lamas. We go for refuge to all the yidams, the deities who gather in the mandalas. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the supreme dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble sangha. We go for refuge to all the dakas, dakinis, protectors and defenders of the dharma who possess the eye of transcending awareness. We go for refuge to all the glorious holy lamas. We go for refuge to all the yidams, the deities gathered in the mandalas. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the supreme dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble sangha. We go for refuge to all the dakas, dakinis, protectors, and defenders of the dharma who possess the eye of transcending awareness.
Okay, take a deep breath.
To the Buddhas, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained by gifts and so on, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, I go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained by gifts and so on, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. To the Buddhas, the Dhamma, the Supreme Assembly, I go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained by gifts and so on, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. On the crown of my head, and all sentient beings pervading space, there rests a white lotus and a moon seat. From Hri appears the noble, all-seeing one, white, bright, and radiating 5-colored light rays, smiling charmingly and gazing with eyes of compassion. He has 4 arms, the upper 2 joined together, the lower 2 holding a white lotus and crystal rosary. He is adorned by precious jewels and silks. A deerskin covers his upper left shoulder. The Buddha, a boundless light, adorns his head. He sits in the Vajrasana. His back is supported by a stainless moon. He is the essence of all sources of refuge. Lord, whose white body is not clothed by fault, whose head is adorned by a perfect Buddha, who looks upon all beings with eyes of compassion. To you, Chenrezig, I pay homage. Lord, whose white body is not clothed by fault, whose head is adorned by a perfect Buddha, who looks upon all beings with eyes of compassion. To you, Chenrezig, I pay homage. Lord, whose white body is not clothed by fault, whose head is adorned by a perfect Buddha, who looks upon all beings with eyes of compassion. To you, Chenrezig, I pay homage. To the Sublime One, the mighty Chenrezig, to the Buddhas and their sons, who reside in the 10 directions and the 3 times, with complete sincerity I pay homage. I offer flowers, incense, butter lamps, perfume, food, music, and other real and imaginary offerings, and so on, and beseech the noble assembly to accept them. I confess all the unskillful actions caused by the power of conflicting emotions, and the 10 unvirtuous deeds, and the 5 sins of limitless consequence done from beginningless time until now. I rejoice in the spiritual merit of whatever virtue of the Svarvakas, Patrika Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and ordinary beings gathered throughout the 3 times. I pray that the Dharma wheel of the Mahayana, the Hinayana, and of the teachings common to both be turned in accordance with the wishes and the aptitudes of all beings. I beseech the Buddhas not to pass into nirvana, as long as samsara is not emptied, but to look with compassion upon sentient beings who wallow in the ocean of suffering. May whatever merit I have accumulated be the cause for the enlightenment of all beings. May I quickly become a splendid leader of beings. I pray to you, Lama Chenrezig. I pray to you, Yidam Chenrezig. I pray to you, perfect noble Chenrezig. I pray to you, Lord Protector Chenrezig. I pray to you, Lord of Love Chenrezig. Great compassionate Victor, please hold us with your compassion. Numberless beings who wander in endless samsara experience unbearable suffering. There is no other refuge than you, Protector. Please bestow the blessings to obtain omniscient Buddhahood. By our power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings through the force of anger are born as hell beings and experience the suffer of heat and cold. May they all be born in your presence, perfect deity. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of greed, are born in the realms of the pretas and experience the suffering of hunger and thirst. May they all be born in your perfect realm, the Potala. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of stupidity, are born as animals and experience the suffering of dullness and stupidity. May they all be born in your presence, the Protector. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of desire, are born in the human realm and experience the suffering of excessive activity and constant frustration. May they all be born in the pure land of Dewachen. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of jealousy, are born in the realm of the demigods and experience the suffering of fighting and quarreling. May they all be born in your realm, the Potala. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of pride, are born in the realm of the gods and experience the suffering of change and folly. May they all be born in your realm, the Potala. Wherever I am born, may my deeds, by equaling Chenrezig's, liberate all beings from impure realms, and spread the perfect sound of the 6 syllables in the 10 directions. Through the power of praying to you, perfect noble one, may all beings who I am to discipline pay the greatest attention to action and result, and diligently practice virtue and the dharma for the benefit of all beings. Through this one-pointed prayer, light radiates from the body of the Sublime One, outer realm is the pure land of Dewa-Chen, and the body, the speech, the mind of the beings therein are the perfect form, the sublime speech, and the pure mind of mighty Chenrezig, the invisible union of appearance, sound, and vivid intelligence with voidness. Of others, and all appearances are the perfect form of the Sublime One. All sounds the melody of the 6 syllables. All thoughts the vastness of the great Shana. Through this virtue, may I quickly achieve the realization of mighty Chenrezig. May I bring every single being to that same state of being. The merit of reciting and meditating, may I and every being to whom I am connected, when these imperfect forms are left behind, be miraculously born in Dewa-Chen. And may I then immediately cross the 10 levels and send out the emanations in the 10 directions for the benefit of all others. Through this virtue, may all beings perfect the accumulations of spiritual merit and awareness. May they attain the 2 supreme bodies, which arise from merit and awareness. Bodhisattva is precious. May it arise in those who have cultivated it, and in those who have cultivated it, may it not diminish. May it ever grow, and may it ever flourish.
Okay, just relax, take it easy. You can open your eyes. We're all here. Everything's cool. All right, so thank you all very much for attending, and I hope you learned a whole lot from that one. This is all going to be caught up. You have all your future lives ahead of you. And I'm here in order to make sure you have a path through your lives so that you can make it into the Bodhisattva reality of the Buddha field. Because when I incarnated, when you start reading and studying and understanding, you'll find that as a Buddhist practitioner, your only goal in life is to make yourself so clear, so pure, so ready, so that you would be so blessed to be incarnated at the time of the incarnation of Buddha. And you're here. I'm here. So that's a really big, good thing. Yeah. So let's take that in as reality. That what you have done in your past has gotten you to this point. And this is everybody's wish in Buddhism, is to reach this point. And now you can see Shambhala, hear about Shambhala, because I could bring that into manifestation. Because I actually come from there. So those are things that are part of every bit of teaching in Buddhism of what happens in the Buddha field. Shambhala becomes real. And the whole world becomes the ashram of Shambhala. The whole world becomes Shambhala. Yeah? So that's the outcome. And that outcome's going to take thousands and thousands and thousands of years for this whole planet to come into the higher levels. So that my teaching is transmission. Yeah? And when you're receiving it in transmission, we're on a cooperative level within the hierarchy, and the ability to understand things that need to be done to get done. And we don't need governors and we don't need presidents. They could be there, but they're part of the Tulku reality. We incarnate, we reincarnate, and we instill masters in powerful positions in the world, whether as scientists or engineers or presidents. Yeah? Think of Lincoln, think of Washington, Tulkus. Yeah? Yeah? So that's what this is about. Yeah? We're going to come to that reality, and America is one of the major places, but the whole world is a place where Tulkus reincarnate. They become regents. Yeah? And the world becomes healed because everybody in that area of the world, the whole world, becomes part of transmission. Yeah? And the Tulkus pick it up, the Tulkus begin working with it, fostering it, because we're here. We're physically incarnated. This is a time, because we're in the Buddha field, the field of manifestation is in the hands of Buddha. So electric cars, flying electric cars, autonomous driving things, and all the things that you need to have, that you should have, no one can get in the way of, is brought to you by the Buddha field. Yeah? So enjoy Shambhala, please. Thank you.